Hello. Have I got an exciting show for you? Is it a show? Who knows? We don't care. Today I'm going to finish. No, you wish. Today I'm going to carry on going through my top 100 of all time as of 2018. We have uncovered a conspiracy, a person who keeps rating Eurogames badly. Last time in my 80 to 71, we wrote him a message live on this very channel, and today we have a reply. Now kids, I can't guarantee, I haven't looked at this, I can't guarantee that this is going to be family friendly. So let's go see this reply. Here we go. Bosh. There we go. So, let's have a look here. Frozen Flesh. This is the fella. We asked him what he was up to, what the crack was. Oh, hang on a minute, before I do that, I just need to get my little comments and reactions from my one viewer. Okay, here we go. Frozen Flesh, €3. Hello Nick. Sure, I would love to explain those ratings to you. Please excuse my bad English. I like all sorts of games, and in my opinion, mature themes should also be allowed to be explored for those who are interested in them. I enjoy games with more mature themes. Unfortunately, many people on BGG are severely offended by everything that is outside of their comfort zone, but instead of leaving others alone, they actively try to ruin the game experience for other people, which makes me really sad. Some of my favourite games like Kingdom Death Monster I hate. The board games have dozens of ones ratings by people who never played them or didn't take the time to do any research about the game. So to protest this and to adapt to their methods, I rated all the top 10 games with cute family-friendly themes with a 1-star rating to raise awareness that that's a stupid thing to do. Cheers, Michael. Well, that is a thoroughly reasonable and therefore disappointing reply. So there we go. It's you know, he's got a reason, hasn't he? He's got a reason. Let's crack on. You know, I can't even think of how to reply to that. You know. Anyway, my number 70 is Heaven and Ale. Heaven and Ale, average rating of 7.6, weight of 3.26. And I think I went and translated this earlier, but then I forgot to actually save that translation. So that's good. Let's go up one. I hate how money is required to do everything. Well, I wonder how you manage to get on in life, because money is required to do everything, pal, and that's a sad fact. You ain't got the chips, you ain't going to get anywhere. I hate how money is required to do everything, but also requires a multi-step process to generate. I don't want to spend half the game assuring I don't run out of money. I want to set up some interesting scoring opportunities on my board. Well, that's exactly what I like about Heaven and Ale. Heaven and Ale is a Kiesling game. I love Michael Kiesling. This game has a few clever things. You do have to grok a few things. You have to understand a few things, like these monks. You can cause them to kind of chain react, but it's not as generous as perhaps the rules first make it sound. You've got a light side of the garden and a dark side of the garden, which produce different resources or different amounts of resources. And on your player boards, if I can, there we go, there's one right up here. You've got multiple score cubes, and these relate to the different things here, the different crops you'll be growing and stuff. And basically, you want to get all of them as high as possible. It's no good neglecting one, so the game has to be fairly balanced, which I like. So that is my number 70, Heaven and Ale, and my number 69 is Root. Now, this is a bit cheeky. I didn't think this would be on my list because I wrote this the end of 2018, and obviously have looked at it loads of times since then. But it's actually, I'd only played the prototype at this stage. Root has an average rating of 8.1, complexity of 3.47. Not everyone agrees. Not a war game. Aggressive, unenjoyable, and overly complicated. Also, really bad artwork. Quite like the artwork. Not for me. Terrible artwork, overly complex, and tedious game for what the end result is. I don't play this game. I don't even mind to play it because I saw the description of the game, and this game is a strategy game, not a war game, considering all games in this category. So, I put a 1 because the category of the game is clearly wrong. This wrongness must be corrected to assure that this category is not polluted by someone who wants to do marketing for his game in a category that is not correct for this game. Are you all keeping up with me? If this injustice is not corrected, you will see this game be number 1 or in the top 3 in this category. If this case happens, I will not contribute financially anymore to BGG until that injustice is corrected. If the case is corrected, I will retire my 1 rating and continue as usual to contribute to BGG. So there we go, folks. If BGG upset you by miscategorizing a game, you are within your rights to hold them to ransom and blackmail them that you will not provide any money for them anymore. Root, I like the artwork, I like the game, I like it even more now as well. This would guaranteed be higher. This is from the same team that bought you Vast, and in it each player will take a different faction. Here's the Marquess Cats and the Bluebirds, and they all play differently. And they all have different winning conditions. Well, they all have to get the most points, but they've got different ways of getting to those points. The Cats are trying to get their buildings all around the forest, and they can benefit from kind of buildings that give you resources and stuff like that to build more buildings. The birds, one of the groups has diminishing returns. One of the groups is just one piece that wanders through the forest, allying with people if he wants and not. The vagabond, that is. It's just fantastic. You do need to have it taught well by someone who knows all the rules and perhaps doesn't even play that round. But it is a fantastic asymmetric game, as asymmetric as they come. On to my number 68, which is the fantastic Crisis. Now everyone thinks it's fantastic though. KS pending. So, have you played it or not? Great time playing on medium. Came from behind by tapping resorts and lost by 2 points in the end. Played with all experienced players. The city deterioration never really played a factor. Even without that playing a big impact, there was still enough cutthroat placement and screwage to make the game very enjoyable. Does this person think they've rated it a 10? Because they've rated it a 1, and that's a thoroughly good review. Interesting. Crisis is a worker placement game that simulates the a financial situation in a country. So this track down this side of the board, this little square here, you all have to reach that in a round. Otherwise, the country that you're all a part of, financial stability can go down. It can also go up if you all beat it, but it can go down, and that has consequences for the whole team. Not team, because you're not on the same team, but the whole, everybody. The worker placement areas is really interesting. You put them all out, but then you resolve down this column, and then down this column. So you have to really think about, do I have enough things from these actions to do what I want to do in these actions? It works really, really well. The semi-cooperative aspect of this is light, but stands up. And I really like the engine building of these buildings. So you'll be buying these buildings and placing workers into them. They've got specific spots there that need certain types of workers. Works really well, lovely production. Really enjoy Crisis. 67 is Concordia. Very bad. Very bad. Average of 8.1. Very bad. Then we have our friend again. Our friend who, I don't begrudge him doing this, but let's just say this is the fourth part of my top 10 when he's rated at least one game like this. In fact, he also put this on route as well. So we have, in my top 40 games, we have 5 games that have been targeted by this fella for being not great. In Brazil, the Brazilian publisher has positioned itself against the conservative candidate. This may contribute to a communist candidate winning the elections. I don't quite know how to comment on that. Concordia is a brilliant trading, route building game where the rules are literally one page, and the board will start to kind of look like this as you put out your buildings to get resources and score various points, trade up goods, all that sort of thing. The clever part of this is the cards, which are where the entire rule set comes from, and also your score, majority of your scoring is going to come from your card collection, your collection of these cards and which gods they are attuned to. And I just really blew me away when I've played this, and it's one that I need to play more often, as I could say for a lot of my games. Let's move on. 66 is Keyforge. Keyforge is brilliant. 7.7 rating, but not everyone thinks it's brilliant. Quite possibly the most disgusting cash grab in board game history. Billions of permutations, just like saying there are billions of permutations of 20 cards inside a box of magic blister packs. Mathematically true, but nonsensical in gameplay terms. This rule system gaming model was created for the sole purpose of exploiting the gambling tendencies of a certain segment of players, making it all the more repugnant. The depths that they've stooped to with this are low indeed, and I say this is a staunch avocado of a lot of their games of the past 20 years or so. Okay, well, I quite like Keyforge because it's not a money sink. I've got 6 decks, quite happy with those. I'm still undefeated with those 6 decks as well. Keyforge, you are battling to turn over keys. As you see, people have made a lot of custom keys here. And you do that by playing creatures. You can upgrade these creatures. You can do all sorts of things. The unique part is you will have 3 houses within a deck represented, and you have to choose which house you're going to use cards from on that turn, and you can only use those on that turn. I also feel like with Keyforge at the very least, Fantasy Flight have listened to the public, and their second starter has the tokens that perhaps the first one should have had. So I don't hold too much of a grudge against them. I think Keyforge works really well. I think the unique deck for Keyforge works well with it. Let's move on to 65, which is Yokohama. Yokohama, averaging 7.9 on BGG. We have our friend again, let's mark that down. So this is our 6th instance, 3rd in this section. This must be a particularly Euro-heavy section of my top 10. So there we go. Maybe the ugliest looking board of 2016 when it's all late. Games should be about tyres, as it was intended to be. Is that true? Does anyone know if that's true? Was the game meant to be about tyres? I don't know. This is perhaps lower than it would be if Istanbul didn't exist. The board can look like a bit of a mess when it's laid out. It is a bit confusing. Yet the very act of kind of moving through areas and creating your route and having your little assistants laid out and all that sort of thing, it's just great. In fact, this must be a deluxe version because I'm sure in my friend's version these are cubes. And you're trying to score the points basically, but you can kind of utilise getting your buildings out on certain tiles. You can please the church, it's one of them. Go heavy on cargo. I mean, these components look fantastic. Unfortunately, mine is the bog standard version, which no one seems to take photos of. But yeah, it does look a bit messy when it's all out. But I've really enjoyed it. Like I say, I like the system of movement with worker placement, or worker movement, I guess they call it. And yeah, I find it to be very enjoyable. Lower than, that's a spoiler, isn't it? Another spoiler, lower than Istanbul because of the extra setup, the extra complication, and the extra length of play. Number 64 is Exodus Feet. Exodus Feet, yeah. I've actually only played this once, but loved it. And I really want to play it again. It's just, I've got a lot of games, and I don't need to review this one. Played a 5-player game, knew nothing about it before we started. An hour in, it struck me that everyone was chippy. What's that mean? Is that good? Is chippy good? Waffles? Do you know if chippy's good? I mean, chips are good, aren't they? So I assume that's good. Everyone was chippy. The whole lowest bidder misses the action really sucked, and it led to some irritated players. There is a reward for getting left out, but it felt like the Puerto Rico mechanic where the active player gets a bonus and everyone gets to do the action, but with one player always getting shut out. I doubt I'll play this again. That part alone just kept it from being enjoyable. Oh, and the text under the ship cards is just ridiculously difficult to read. Right in front of you it's small, but in the centre of the table in a 5-player game, I just couldn't see what the ships available could do at all. No one could read that either. Exodus Fleet has a bidding mechanic for the actions, and then you're trying to get your ship filled up. This must be a prototype. I don't know, with squids for people. It's just what's it called? Sleeved. Sleeved. And there's just loads in this game of variety. You're trying to get people on there, you're trying to get the best ships out. The actions that the ships do are great. The player boards really kind of explain the bonuses and stuff. Here we go. Example of the player board and starting hand choice. So you can take income, you can mine your planets, you can transport, and there's various ways for other players to do stuff. And like someone said, if you're the last player, you do get a bonus as well. Really enjoyed it. Keen to play it again. That is my 64 Exodus Feet. Adrenaline is my 63. 7.2 rating, and here we have a little ditty. I mean, is this a poem or a song? What's this? What's this? There's points everywhere. What's this? People die, get reborn, and no one really cares. It does rhyme. What's this? What's this? What's this? There's something very wrong. What's this? There's players optimising points. What's this? The player sheets are filled with markers organised in rows. Everybody's chin stroking. How could a complex game be so boring? What is this? What is this? There's numbers in our heads instead of laughter in the air, tension to be found nowhere, even when your dude gets dead. Wow. Imagine taking a player versus player multiplayer shooter, combining it with area majority and ending up with a victory point salad. The most ridiculous thing about this game is how majorities are scored. The scores awarded are too close to one another. The interest to go after this or that person is none. Preventing ganging up on a person with a mechanical means is just moronic. In every proper conflict-orientated game, this is done by bashing the leader. But in this game, the desire to make everybody included and welcome and wrapped in layers of styrofoam is so strong, we might as well be flipping. The second ridiculous thing I'm skipping. Second ridiculous thing is the theme and the name, Adrenaline. This game is a complete misconception about board games. Blah, 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 blah. It uses mechanisms to illustrate the theme. Yes, when you are hit, you can move more because this is thematic. It's about adrenaline. See, the game tries so hard to explain. The game that gets this right, Wiz War. Rated as high as 2.5, as I might still want to play it in 4 or 5. Edit. Oh, it's a 1 now. Well, They didn't like it. However, I do. I thought the area control on the damage boards was done really well. I thought it was a clever method of area control. In fact, area control is soaked through the game. You're fighting for control on people's damage boards and up here, and they do become worth less points as they become killed more and more and more. And I thought that was really good. It means you want to go after the player who's managed to avoid being killed. The tag back system works really well, so if you shoot someone then you might get hit back later on. All in all, I thought this was excellent. The board that combines in different ways, the weapons are fantastic. Play is really simple to pick up and play. I thought Adrenaline was great. I didn't see it as a victory point salad because I've played some games by a man called Feld. Number 62 is a new game, Alone. Very bad game. Three overlords is a lie. It's really 1 versus 1 game. Well, I'll give you that, although we played it 1 versus 2 and it was excellent. So Alone is, I'll tell you my worst thing about Alone. My worst thing about Alone is it is quite fiddly. It was advertised as a 1v3 game where the evil players are the 3. I would not play it with 3 overlords. I would play it with 3 players total and with 2 players total, and I think it works really well. The hero cannot see where they are going for very far in the distance, and the overlord has a big screen that they place out and they can see the maps behind. Let's see if we can get some photos that illustrate that. So here we have the overlord board. So they know what's going on, they know where the hero is, they know where the monsters are, but they only have to lay out the immediate surroundings for the player and anything that they can see that is lit up. And this creates a great tension. On top of this, the player board is brilliant in that the evil player is simply reacting to what the hero player does. So they will play their reactions to the hero player's actions. They'll play reactions to those, and then take those reactions, and it just works really, really well. I like the multiple rule books in this case because they were similar enough that you didn't really need to read the other person's as long as one person had a grasp of it. I think it's a really good game, despite the fiddliness, despite the fact that, yeah, I wouldn't play it with 4 players. So let's crack on to number 61 and the last game of today's list, Guards of Atlantis, an average of 7.4, and here we go, 2. Good idea, not just for me. So, good idea, I think he means just not for me, but good idea, not just for me. And don't play 2 players, it makes the game horribly awful. Now, I think with 2 players you have to control multiple characters each, at least 2 if not 3. But this was the first that I was aware of tabletop version of a MOBA game, a massively online battle arena game. And you have this board that you're trying to push the other team back into their area to win the game. The player boards are great, and you're going to play out 4 cards, and then you can upgrade your characters, you can level up. It works really, really well, but it is so much better when you have an idea of all the characters and their powers that might be available. All the kind of minion characters move automatically, you're just focused on your heroes, and then there's a very simple process of moving their characters up. The minion characters up, and you've got characters that can deal particularly well with the minions, characters that can deal better with the other heroes. I just think it's a really special game. Really got a lot of time for Wolf Designer, who have made this game. I've liked all their games that I've played so far, but this is one with a learning curve for shizzle. So, what? That is us through another 10 on the list. Join us again in a couple of days, probably 2 or 3 days. I'll go through my 60 to 51, maybe get someone else to sit here with me for all the banter. but at least this one wasn't 40 minutes. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time on Board, Deck and Dice.